Today we're going to talk about investing in yourself, why it's so important, and why you need to look the way you want to be perceived. When people first see you and meet you, they automatically form a perception of you in their mind. Your perception of yourself is completely different than everyone else's. I want to make that one very clear. It is completely different than how everyone else perceives you. And to an extent, they're right, and to an extent, you're right as well. But if you present yourself a certain way with your mannerisms, with how you talk, with how you look at people, how you don't look at people, just the little things about yourself, people will make judgments about it. And so if you always look good, if you always smell nice, if you always present yourself as someone who takes care of themselves, even if you got a little bit of weight to lose, as long as you don't look like you're just wasting your time, you don't care about it, people will perceive you a better way. I used to have a job where I worked outside a lot, and I was delivering ice. That's a dirty, sweaty, wet job. Most of the time, your feet, your hands, your clothes will be wet by the time you get off work. And so, a lot of times you can't always look your best. And so I also found when I would get off of work and I would go places, I was in such a rush, I wouldn't always go home. I would just meet them after work because I end up working so late. So I go to a party or something and everybody's in these flashy and fresh clothes and I'm looking like, a bum. I just got off of work. And so, and people do respect the working man and the things he's going through, but it was like I didn't even take the time to go back home. And with that being said, for the new people that were there, I might have been perceived a certain way. They might have looked at me funny or even talked about me, for all I know. Some of them did, not directly to my face, but, but then when they saw me, say after church or on my off days, I always had clean clothes, nice looking stuff. And this isn't like an expensive brand, but it shows that there's quality. I've had this shirt for 3 years. You can't tell that I didn't just buy it. And so that also brings me to another point about taking care of yourself. Take care of the things that you have so that they last longer. A lot of the clothes that I wear are clothes that I've had for years. I upgrade my wardrobe every now and then, but I have a certain look about myself. And people already know when they see me, he has a certain look, even down to certain colors. Black, red, and white is usually what you're going to catch me in, especially during the fall and the winter times, which rightfully so. I look good in them. And how I have presented myself to people is how they will treat me. Some people will look at me and feel like I'm a boss. Some people will look at me and think that I'm a worker. And to be misrepresented from one meeting shows you how important it is to make sure that that first impression is a lasting impression. That sounds so cliche, but it is the truth. A lot of these sayings, it's deeper than what you think, but it's not cliche at all. This is the correct format. So these things are important for you to remember if you're going into business of your own. Even if you're going to work for somebody, you shouldn't appear like you're just a worker. They should feel like you coming for their job a little bit, because they'll respect that more. Not in a sense where you never outshine the master or whatever, but just someone that is worthy of merit. And as a man, for me personally, my morals and values are very important. I stand on that. I stand on how I present myself. What you see is what you will get. And so I want to make sure that when people first interact with me, they understand, at least get a basis or a general view of who I am. And again, it's not always just on how you look, how the conversation goes. Do you give people a chance to talk? Do you constantly interrupt them? Do you not wait and listen to their viewpoints, or if you're just waiting to talk? There's a difference between that. Waiting just to talk and actually listening and dissecting what someone says is a totally different thing. And a lot of people are guilty of that syndrome. And also, be aware of your vices, because if people see you engaging in certain vices, especially if this is their first time meeting you, they will label you with that vice. Whether you're just there at the party taking a sip or not, or smoking a cigar or whatever, they may perceive you as, oh, he a drinker. Oh, he a smoker. That may not even be the case. But how you're presented and how you show yourself is what they will see. So if every time they come to these parties, you're drunk, or every time they see you at work, you smell like outside, you know, they're going to perceive you as that person. And reputation and word of mouth goes further than anything else. Don't let people fool you. Reputation and word of mouth is the fastest and best way to spread information, because people will readily trust someone that was recommended by a friend before they trust someone off the street. And this is facts. You may have better prices, you may be cheaper, but my friend recommended them, I'm going with them. So you got to make sure that when you're presenting yourself, you are someone that people want to be around, someone that people consider, you know, a real individual, someone who deserves respect, someone who represents themselves, and someone who stands for something. So make sure that when you're going out, you are perceived as the person that you want to be perceived as. This is just little tips to kind of help ease people on so they understand how important their image is. You shouldn't be obsessed with your image, but you should recognize how heavy and important your image is. And that even comes down to work. Even with these videos that I put out, the quality in my delivery has changed over the years. You know, I've become better at it because I've also become used to it. And with that being said, I wanted to deliver better quality. It's better camera work. I got a better phone, better computer, things like that. And that also goes back to reinvesting in yourself. So how you perceive, how you look is based on the time and effort that you put into yourself. When you walk out the door, you should make sure your face looks good, your hair looks good. You don't have to have the freshest of cuts, but I recommend a touch-up. Like, I always keep this and this because I look young in the face and people keep confusing me for a teenager. So I keep a little hair just to make sure people understand, like, I'm a grown man, I'm not a child, okay? But how I'm perceived, you know, this is also a lesson from how I've been perceived over my life. You know, and again, investing in yourself is the best thing you can ever do. People have gotten jobs literally just based on how they went about the interview, how they talked, how they dealt with the bosses, even just how they were dressed, even how they filled out the application. That is very important. When you first meet someone, a firm handshake, you look them in the face, you look them in the eyes, you let them know, like, yes, I'm here. I'm someone who is worthy of merit. So just make sure you spend your time investing in yourself, because you are a brand. Every single day, wherever you go, however many people you interact with, you are a brand. You represent yourself and whoever's with you. So if you are not actively representing yourself in the best way possible, you need to do some touch-ups. Keep your ears and your eyes on the swivel. And remember, one love.